Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. So just a quick offensive coordinator update for you. The Washington Commanders are interviewing Eric Bieniemy for their OC position today. Also some news on Commanders wide receiver coach Drew Terrell and some more. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Just hit that subscribe button. It's free. Take a chance on me. You will not regret it. Also hit that like button and that notification bell as well. So we knew this was going to happen, but it's officially happening today. The Commanders are interviewing Eric Bieniemy for their OC job, and a lot of different sources are saying that, it's not a done deal or anything like that. But, a lot of people think it's going to happen. And Joe Banner, who is, former Eagles Eagles GM and president, said he thinks it's a done deal, but I don't know about that. We will see. But interviewing today, I think they met with Rivera and hit Rivera's people yesterday after the parade, and today is when the interview is happening. And just Nicky Javala just tweeted that the interviewing with the Commanders is still going per source. He had dinner with Rivera and company last night and had been meeting with them all day today. He's still at the facility. Do not let him leave the facility. Don't let him leave. Get him, or I guess sign him or hire him, whatever you want to do. Get him pen to paper today before he leaves. Don't let him mull his options. I know he doesn't have officially have other options, but teams just hired their head coaches, and they might need some offensive coordinators to interview. So just don't give him anything to think about. Let him bring him back here. I like him over any of the other candidates. Thomas Brown, Greg Roman, definitely Pat Shurmur, definitely Ken Zampese, any of those. Give me Eric Bieniemy, number one candidate on the list for me. I think it just makes a lot of sense. And, the only really critiques for him, he hasn't fully called plays, but he has called some plays with Andy Reid. He's worked under Andy Reid, which is definitely a huge, huge plus. And some people say, he's kind of like aggressive with players, and some players can't take that. Well, we have a players coach and a coach that has a good relationship with the players in Ron Rivera, so I think they'll be able to handle that dynamic. So yeah, just hire him, please, please, please. That would be a huge, huge upgrade over Scott Turner. This is what Jordan Schultz says. My understanding, Ron Rivera / the Commanders have high hopes that Eric Bieniemy is their guy. League sources told me yesterday they've had dinner. They'd have dinner Wednesday and then get Eric Bieniemy in the facility today. Highlighted his ability to cultivate relationships with players. Example, Mahomes, as invaluable. So that's kind of just another example there of, background in Eric Bieniemy. Right now, I would probably put the odds at 65% Eric Bieniemy, 25% for Greg Roman. So, and then 10% like the field. I mean, maybe 5% Pat Shurmur, 5% Anthony Lynn. Yeah, that's kind of my take on those things. I really think it's going to be Eric Bieniemy, and I'm really, really hoping it is, because I think at the very least your players will, highly, highly respect Eric Bieniemy. I mean, the prestige he has, the amount of head coaching interviews he's had, like, he is going to be way more respected amongst players, in my opinion, than Scott Turner was, especially later on in the year. And that alone will help. And, players being confident in, your play calling abilities goes a long way. Because if they're not confident, they're not going to go out there and do the best of their ability, or they're just going to be, maybe doing their own thing a little bit. And I don't know if you want that. And then Kime says Eric Bieniemy's at the facility, and he said this at 9. Very possible we'll know who the OC is sometime Friday. I'm hoping we hear tomorrow that he is the OC and don't have to worry about anything else, and we can dive into, just do a lot more research on Eric Bieniemy, his schemes and everything over the next few days, instead of talking about Pat Shurmur. You know what? I don't absolutely love Greg Roman, but I'll take Greg Roman over Pat Shurmur. I'll take Anthony Lynn over Pat Shurmur. I just don't really want it to be Pat Shurmur, Anthony Lynn at this point. Just another retread. And you could say Greg Roman's a retread, but he's done a good job at most of his spots. And this past year was bad, but that's because he had freaking Tyler Huntley as his QB. And yes, he did make the Pro Bowl, but I mean, he had more interceptions and touchdowns. He was trash as a starter. So he was okay, but I'm focusing on Eric Bieniemy because anyone but Eric Bieniemy and I will be disappointed. There'll be some that'll be more disappointed than others. Like, there'll be some candidates that if they hire him, I'll be very, very upset. And some where, okay, I really wanted Eric Bieniemy, but I'm okay with this guy. Like Thomas Brown, even though I think that's out of the question. But, Greg Roman, I'll be like, okay, I'd much rather have Eric Bieniemy, but I get Greg Roman or Anthony Lynn, something like that. But if it's like Ken Zampese, then I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then the thing that's going to be interesting is to see if Eric Bieniemy does come in, or whoever, Greg Roman, how the staff changes. Will Rivera let Eric Bieniemy bring in his own staff? I'm assuming so. Maybe Rivera will have some input. Maybe Eric Bieniemy will be like, okay, I'm looking between this guy and this guy. I'm looking between these two guys. And then Rivera will be like, you know what, I like this guy a little bit better, let's hire him. So it's kind of a combined effort of finding that. I'm fine with that. I'm just not fine with, Rivera being like, okay, you know what, you're the OC, but let's stick with my guys. No, this guy's running the show. He's calling the plays. Let him have the guys he wants to have around him. And if that's some of the guys that are already on staff, like Randy Jordan, that's okay. Maybe Drew Terrell. If not, that's also okay as well. Some news: Commanders receivers coach Drew Terrell has been requested by the Arizona Cardinals for their offensive coordinator job. Source said, just 31, he's highly thought of in NFL circles. So, we'll see if they hire him. I don't know. I doubt it, just because he's very, very young. 31 years old, and I think this past year was only his second year as a receivers coach. So I think you need a little bit more time than that to go to an OC job. So I think he's going to need another year this year, whether it's here or somewhere else, before he can get an OC job. But maybe he will. The Cardinals will take a chance. Also, though, their head coach is Jonathan Gannon, so he's not calling plays. So Drew Terrell would be calling plays. That's a tall task for a 31-year-old who's been a receiver coach for a couple years. He's done a good job, don't get me wrong. Terry's been developing. He was already developed before he got here, but Curtis has done well, Jahan's done well, some of the other guys as well, and they've all meshed well together. But and they've been willing blockers as well, but I still don't see him being an OC. So I would love to have him back. I really would. I just don't know if the new OC will want, if it's Eric Bieniemy or Greg Roman, if they're going to want to bring back Drew Terrell or anyone by that matter. I think, honestly, there's a very high chance. Sorry, I just saw a tweet. I wanted to make sure it had anything to do with what we're seeing right here. But Jeremy Fowler just tweeted, the Commanders continue to meet with Eric Bieniemy late into today, as both sides who have mutual interest discuss a potential partnership or source. Still a lot to sort through as far as philosophy, but Bieniemy remains a prime candidate. So kind of just, that's even more good news. Not going to make a separate video about that, but it looks like it's trending in the direction of Eric Bieniemy. So, and if that happens, again, the staff's going to be in question, and I feel like John Matsko probably will just retire because he's old, and he's probably just doesn't want to go through another change with people that aren't his guys. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.